All right, I'm good to go whenever you are.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, let's do it. Hello, this is Chris Marshall with Silverton Avalanche School here. This presentation is going to be on documentation and what's expected for your Pro 1. You all should have been introduced to this subject in the pre-course material by going through SWAG and the proficiencies and guidelines. Documentation is 5% of your final grade, and really everyone should try to get all 5 marks in this category. It's important to understand what you're going to be evaluated on. We'll take a look at your field books. Those will have the manual weather station observations and your filling out of AM and PM forms. The reason that we're concerned with documentation is it creates a professional record. It should be easy to interpret, it should be complete, and require little follow-up. I like to think of it as if I were to hand my field book to another Avalanche professional, would I be proud of that work? And would they be able to use my work without much clarification? The proficiencies and guidelines will outline that you will be evaluated on your documentation being neat, complete, relevant, and consistent. It's important to understand why we have standard documentation as an industry. Creating standard documentation allows us to clearly communicate. This reduces uncertainty as we're sharing information. Over time, accurate documentation builds data sets that are strong and are durable. Standardized documentation allows ease of passing information between different professionals, oftentimes ones that you don't personally know. You all should become familiar with the industry standard language. So what words are, data codes, units, and symbols. Oftentimes, we can have a data code and a symbol that mean the same thing. Depending on where we're inputting that data, one may be more useful than the other. What we don't want to do is use words, data codes, units, or symbols that are not in SWAG. These will not add to our data sets. Here's an example of copying an observational template into a field book. As you can see, this is clearly laid out with the headers on top, along the columns, and then the rows with different dates. Having a template allows consistency through our observations and allows us to see trends in our data. Here's another template that's copied into a field book, again with the same parameters. Field book provided to you will have, field book provided to you will have this format. This is an example of our station weather observations. You can see, again, it's lined out in a tabular format where we can see trends in our data. Another portion of your field book is avalanche occurrence observations, and you can see there are reminders and hints as to the critical data that we want to record. An important component of documentation are non-standardized notes, and these are ones that are not going to fit into the tabular data, but oftentimes provide context and a good deal of meaning behind some of our other observations. Things that are important to consider: relevant data from our AM meetings, any sort of observations that we have out in the field, and then creating notes for debrief. I like to think of my non-standardized observations as a place where I can create a narrative. Perhaps it's around items that don't fit into our categories as easily, and a place to be able to have some sort of conversation either with ourselves or other members of our team about things that we're seeing. It's helpful to create in your field book at least a page, if not 2 pages per day for non-standardized notes. Here are a few tips for common mistakes that we often see. So N/O is the data code for not observed. No is the data code for no current precipitation. Nil does not appear in SWAG, so that should never be used in our standard observations. Only document the numeral 0 when 0 is the measured value. Otherwise, N/O or no may be more appropriate. None is the data code for no blowing snow. And do not record a wind direction for calm. VAR may be used for variable wind. We want to favor accuracy over precision. And we want to know the difference between standard and style. So with these, we have a standard. It's laid out very clearly. In our non-standardized observation, if you want to bring your own style or flavor into your observation, that's fine. If you have any other questions about this, again, SWAG likely has the answers. Please go into the Google Classroom and write your question in the question section in there. Thank you and look forward to seeing you out in the field.